Greetings and felicitations, YouTube. You're all happy and way here. I had a chance to play a best of 3 with an opponent, Guillefreeman. We played different factions in each game, different maps in each game, and I'm just going to take you straight on into it. This is my army, playing as Mycenae, using a Warlord Commander hero, because my opponent brought Paris of Troy, and I kind of felt I might be able to get away with a really cheap Warlord on feet with the, let's see, he's got the Aegis of Zeus for missile resistance. Works on himself, though, not on everybody around him like I was hoping it would, so I didn't use it too terribly much. Leader of Men and the Shout, some pretty solid, regular, normal buffs. My army consists of 3 armored spearmen. I didn't feel like I needed to bring more than that because Paris is not really known for heavy infantry. I brought 4 Achaean slingers because most Paris players that I face tend to bring a lot of really expensive archers that 4 Achaean slingers can usually out-damage themselves. A Minotaur for a little bit of anti-hero work, since, you know, I only brought the Warlord Commander anyway. And you never know, your opponent might not bring Paris, or you'll have an opportunity just to throw the Minotaur into melee engagements. That can always happen in your favor. The units that I bring every time I play as Mycenae, Club Warriors. I brought 4 units of them. These guys are hiding in the tall grass like velociraptors. And a pair of Young Spears, which are currently mixed in with these Club Warriors. My other 2 Club Warriors are far off over here on this flank, beside a pair of Chariots. Paris does have access to heavy Chariots, but I still thought that I might be able to get away with just a couple of regular Chariots, with the intent purpose of causing havoc for the Trojan Princes or Trojan Noble Chariots, whichever one that's called, and archers in particular. My opponent surprised me with his army. We both came in with about the same number of troops. He brought 1,027, which I kind of looked at that number and went, well, he might have gone a little wider with the infantry than I thought. And it's a strange army, but it plays well, and it caught me off guard. I had to come full circle around to a strategy that I knew was going to work, because I didn't expect to see a whole line of shielded spear warriors. We're looking at 6 of them. Now, these are just the medium infantry variant. These guys are really, they're just a roadblock. They're not going to handle very well against most melee infantry in the game, but they will slow you down, and that's certainly what these guys are going to do. The big thing here, though, is 6 renowned Trojan slingers, a Cyclops, Paris himself is on foot, and heavy Trojan chariots. Just the 1 unit of it, and 1 unit of light skirmishers. And really, this army catches me off guard, and you'll see what I mean. So as the battle is getting set up, I'm going to go ahead and start moving up my infantry slowly. He's also coming down from his position. I thought for sure he was just going to stay up there. The Cyclops came down here, I'm assuming, to try and threaten a boulder, but I scared him off with my Achaean slingers really quickly. They still have the attack order. I don't mind moving them up a bit, but these renowned Trojan slingers are going to absolutely punish my slingers.
Your hero is under attack.
Yeah, I should have moved my hero away from here, because Paris is going to start targeting him and get a whole lot of collateral kills against this armored swordsman. Meanwhile, the slingers over here are pushing away my Club Warriors. I can't just charge my Club Warriors straight into that, especially with the heavy Trojan chariot coming my way. I moved my medium chariots over to the right flank because that's where his heavy chariot was, but then he moves his heavy chariot over to the left flank, so I'm actually going to pull my chariots straight on back. I go ahead and I push this side. As you can see, my Club Warriors start expending their javelins,
Your warriors are losing heart.
and this helps to push back the Trojan slingers while my Achaean slingers try to get some damage in on them. And I just set my Young Spears to chase this light skirmisher, just try to take it out of the fight completely. He's got a fairly well protected position, but I am doing, as I often do, trying to get an envelopment going here. He's going to put 2 shielded spear warriors down here to stop my the advance of my Club Warriors. That's fine. As you can see, one of my slingers got routed really quickly by all of the renowned Trojan slingers, and I'm taking my time here. It's because I still haven't even gotten most of my stuff in position. I'm actually really worried about this heavy Trojan chariot, and I am trying to get some forces out here into position to deal with it. It's currently in a somewhat protected position in the tree line here, but I figure, hey, let's go ahead and spend my javelins at it with my Club Warriors. They're not going to last well in melee, so as soon as I realized I didn't get that much damage with my javelins, I'm going to have them run away. They're a speedy little unit, and I'm going to have them supported by the chariots. And I take very little damage from those from the heavy Trojan chariots, and now that my medium chariots are here to outnumber it, I can actually turn around. I was actually really surprised by this, that the Trojan chariots just pulled right through my regular chariots, but now I've got them surrounded. He's going to try and get out of this, but I've got him pinned now pretty solidly. My slingers start winning the engagement against one of the Trojan slingers, but as you can see, I'm actually taking a ton more casualties than his slingers are. And that's when I realized, hey, you know what? This is just medium spear warriors. I charge in with my swords. I've got no reason not to. I need to start engaging these melee units so that I can actually envelop them. He's done a pretty decent job of stopping my melee advance, and he's keeping his renowned Trojan slingers protected with just those 6 units. I realize I need to get my young spears back out of here, because this light skirmisher, he's just going to keep running away from me. Look at this heavy Trojan chariot, completely shattered. And that frees up this entire flank, and that frees me to do whatever I want with the shielded spear warrior, bypass it completely, get into these slingers if I want to. I'm starting to use my what's left of my Achaean slingers to try and damage a shielded spear warrior that's out of position with their shields facing the wrong way. The missile block chance on a shielded spear warrior, by the way, is a 55%, so it's smart that I'm shooting them in the flank. But yeah, these renowned Trojan, 6 renowned Trojan slingers I did not see coming. Look how quickly the armored swordsman obliterated the shielded spear warrior without any support whatsoever. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to charge it up into this blob of renowned Trojan slingers. Some of these armored swordsmen are also getting into the shot. This was the one that got damaged by Paris, who's currently over here at half his health. I believe my Minotaur at one point must have gotten some damage in on him, or it might have been my hero. Where is the Minotaur? Oh, he's up here fighting the Cyclops, which that makes sense. The Cyclops screened Paris so that Paris could escape, and we're getting a one-on-one. Now, typically, the Cyclops actually wins this engagement, so long as you don't activate his Berserk ability. It looks like that might have changed in recent patches, because, I mean, I was behind enemy lines. I figured my Minotaur would have gotten in a little bit more trouble. As you can see, it didn't take me long to get my young spears back. I rear-charged some of these, I rear-charged that infantry blob, freeing up all of this infantry, and now it's just off to the races, because the slingers are also caught and routing as well. I rarely had to use my Warlord Commander, and I got a pretty lucky break with my Minotaur against his Cyclops, especially with the javelins thrown off of this club warrior here. That really helped to secure that. My chariots were able to get through, deal some damage all on down the line. It's my other chariot. Oh yeah, it's currently running away. I must have gotten stuck up on Shielded Spear Warrior, I guess, when it was heavily damaged. Not entirely sure, but as you can see, that's the shatter, and that was a close victory. The end battle screen shows a pretty straightforward story. I mean, even though I struggled early on and I hadn't quite gotten to the melee engagement that I wanted, once I realized that my armored swordsmen were not going to have a problem with these shielded spear warriors, carved right through them. 128 kills, 119 kills. Slingers did okay. The renowned Trojan slingers, some of them got some decent kills. Cyclops, unfortunately, 0 kills. I don't think he threw a boulder the entire time. That probably would have dealt a ton of damage to my armored swordsman. That would have been absolutely necessary. But wow, that heavy Trojan chariot did manage 46 kills on some of these club warriors. I did get an XP chevron on that one. That must have been one of the 2 that it was fighting. And I got 49 kills to that chariot, 32 with that one, and that was after engaging the heavy Trojan chariot. Minotaur also 0 kills, but gained plenty of XP, so I guess it must have done a fantastic job against that Cyclops. Must have. Anyway, let me go ahead and show you my second match against Guillefreeman. And this time he played as Sparta, and I played as Lycia. And this time we're playing on Ortygia Island. Here we go. Let's just dive right on into this one. We'll talk about my army comp setup first. He has a fairly well-defensible position over here, but let's just talk about the armies. Right away, I brought about 200 more men than he did, and that is, of course, almost entirely spent in renowned Khopesh fighters. I brought 6 units of renowned Khopesh fighters. I love this infantry unit. It is so good, and it has an encouragement aura and javelins. Just love this guy so much. I brought a giant champion, and I deployed as close as I could to the force so I could get them hidden in these trees as quickly as possible. But I had a very good foe. I bet you he saw my giants before I was able to hide them. I have 2 Anatolian youths on each side for 4 total. I brought 4 Eastern slingers right behind my line of renowned Kopesh fighters. I brought the cheap slingers because Sparta and Sparta players are known for bringing two-handed charger units without shields. And even though the armor piercing damage is low on a slinger, they're still dealing damage. 2 of the Lycian winged chariots, very cheap, very effective unit, escorting an archer skirmisher hero. And that's it. That's the entire army. It's a really straightforward army, pretty simple and easy to control. My Spartan foe brought Menelaus on foot. He has 2 regular axemen. I think this is a bad pick. I think he would have been far better off with a Laconian sword. The reason why the axemen are a bad pick, look at that melee damage. Only 65. Yeah, it's 13 armor piercing, but this does not help him against Lycia. He brought 4 Laconian hillmen. 2 of them are hidden over here, and he gave them 4 XP chevrons apiece. He brought a unit of Spartoi with 1 XP chevron. He brought 2 regular old chariot units. This is a medium melee chariot. He brought 2 axe champions, which he also put 4 XP chevrons on. And he brought 4 Achaean slingers, most of them with 2 XP, one of them with 1 XP. And he starts running down the hill, I'm assuming because he wants to defend along this line right here so that it's harder for me to outflank him. I'm going to go ahead and start moving my army up. My orders are to go, as you can see, take a position right in front of where I think he's going to make his line, and to start moving up some of my Anatolian youths. My chariots are eventually going to get their orders. Yep, there they go. And I'm moving my other 2 Anatolian youths, try and see if I can't sneak them up here and take this position before he closes off that entire pathway. Alright. Menelaus is going to go ahead and lead the line with the axemen. He's going to try and spread out his Laconian hillmen. This is a cool unit. It's really cheap. And it causes fear, which means it's also immune to being afraid of things like giants or minotaurs. But in particular, it's a really good rear charge unit because it adds on the terror effect with its attacked in rear melee penalty. So I'm going to go ahead and I move up my hero skirmisher. I want him to start shooting at the Spartoi, try and get some kills through the axemen. The chariots come downhill. I see this coming, and I'm going to go ahead and make some attack orders with my renowned Kopesh fighters. I was hoping they would have gotten off some more javelins. This one's going to sneak through and chase my winged Lycian chariots fruitlessly. He might be able to catch it in a position where it can't run away down here because there are plenty of dead ends. But my renowned Kopesh fighters, they managed to chase, and they're throwing javelins. The winged Lycian chariots are going to shoot back. And I also have my heroes shooting this as well. I saw that this chariot had gotten into the scrub, so I actually attack it with my archer skirmisher so that I can hold it there long enough to get my renowned Kopesh fighters and giants in position. The battle was over before the giants even got there. These 2 guys unfortunately got caught in melee by the Laconian hillmen, and they obliterate the Anatolian youth morale. And the javelins and arrows from the renowned Kopesh fighters destroyed that chariot. Absolutely destroyed it. The other one's gone as well. And both of his chariots gone really quickly, just off of the skirmishing power from the renowned Kopesh fighters and the Lycian winged chariot. A really surprising result, in my opinion. My Eastern slingers are opening fire at these axe champions, dealing plenty of damage, but they're not the only one shooting at it. I also had the opportunity to take some shots with my archer skirmisher hero, who's already in position and already taking shots. Might actually be shooting at the Spartoi right now. I have options. I've gotten my giants around. I'm going to have them rear attack the Spartoi. The Spartoi have lost a ton of health fighting this renowned Kopesh fighter. My slingers get caught by one of the Laconian hillmen from his left flank. And one of my renowned Kopesh fighters gets overwhelmed by the axe champions. Not the axemen, unfortunately. And the Achaean slingers look like they might have conflicting attack orders or something. It looks like they're moving forward. But seeing that there's just an axeman back here, I go ahead and I'm going to put my winged Lycian chariots into attack mode and just run over all of these slingers and get caught slightly by the axe champions and taking some slinger fire here as well from the Achaean slingers. I've had to push my slingers back, and I'm pulling back these two Anatolian youths and one renowned Kopesh fighter to catch this Laconian hillman. That Laconian hillman is now done. This renowned Kopesh fighter is coming back from chasing that chariot finally. As you can see, I'm starting to take some damage on my winged Lycian chariots, but the kills are racking up regardless. I'm punishing all of his infantry. Those Spartoi are already handled. I'm getting my sword fighters into position to flank attack and help me pin down these Axe champions again. My chariots are chasing down some routing units, dealing more damage. Renowned Kopesh fighters are almost in position again. My slingers are now free to attack. He does have a couple of fresh Achaean slingers over here, but now that I've got my giants in position to try and attack Menelaus, the Axe champions are pinned in position. This one's actually getting routed by fighting the giant champions. I'm going to get my winged Lycian chariots over here to put a quick hit on these slingers, rout them, and then I'm going to have them rear charge the one remaining standing Axe champion, and that's going to be all she wrote for this battle. Here we go. Watch these Axe champions take the charge, and that rear attack, even from a light, cheap, speedy, zippy chariot, is enough.
Is close enough to taste.
To steal the victory away from Menelaus. Let's look at the end battle results. We have fairly low performance from my Anatolian youths, but that again, they're there mostly just to take attacks, to take shots, to pin down units. The renowned Kopesh fighters did a phenomenal job. I've picked up 5 XP chevrons across all 6 units. Eastern slingers, not really much going on there, not a lot to talk about, but look at the winged Lycian chariots. 64 kills and 34 kills. Off of a unit that only cost 630, it's a fantastic performance, especially considering that my opponent brought 2 medium melee chariots. That, you would think that'd be enough to counter these guys, but if you're good with your micro, if you're good with your maneuvering, you can punish enemy chariots, and the fact that they only got 1 kill, I think that just speaks volumes to how that battle went. I took a ton of damage on my skirmisher hero, and my giants 62 damage, most of that against the Spartoi. Wow, what a fight, what an opponent. He surprised me both times with his army picks. I felt he did a great job. I have some issues with the ways he spent his XP, especially in the second army. Don't think you should have bought Axemen. I don't think you should have bothered dumping 4 XP chevrons on a bunch of these units. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to look at the cost expenditure and see if we can't come up with a slightly better army. Okay, so this is the enemy's armies, Guillefreeman's armies set up for Sparta in that game against Lycia. Right away, I'm going to go ahead and do the one big major change I would take with this army, and that is get rid of those XP chevrons, and we've already got 1,000 funds. You are always better off taking additional units than to put XP chevrons on something. Let me show you why. So, if I were to put 4 XP chevrons on Laconian hillmen, I've spent 424 of my funds. And what have I gained for it? Well, let's compare it against regular Laconian hillmen. I've gained 4 morale, 3 melee attack, and 5 melee defense. I mean, maybe that 40 melee defense really makes a difference. I just don't see it. I just don't see how 4-7, I just don't see how 12 points of stats makes up for having a spearman or a pair of Achaean slingers. That's how much money he spent for those 4 units to upgrade them to XP4. Having 1,000 funds isn't a bad place to be. Something he could have done with this army with that 1,000 funds is, if he wanted to, he could. And I think this is a very important thing to do. I think you got to ditch the Axemen, and we can replace them with Laconian swordsmen. You still have 660 left over. Let's see here, 660. I think I would ditch the Spartoi and go with a pair, 2 more Laconian swordsmen. I think you need to go a little bit more melee heavy. I think 2 Laconian swordsmen are going to perform better than a Spartoi. And with 360, you still have enough funds for, I guess you don't need another Achaean slinger. He's already brought 4. That's actually a really, really good place to be. But it can't hurt you just to have a Laconian militia. Yeah, this is not a great unit. It's speed 48, though, so you can use it to zip along and run about with the Laconian Hillman. I do like the pick of Laconian Hillman, but maybe we can actually do a little bit better. What about one of these? And with 760, yeah, I'll take another. I'll absolutely take another Laconian Swordsman. This might have been an even better. Actually, I really like this army. I may need to play this myself. Holy cow! Let me save that real quick. I think that might be really good one day to try. Sparta could be good. That's what I'm gonna save that as. Sparta could be good. Okay. This is the army that I would have built for facing a Lycia foe. I would have brought something a little bit closer to this. I bring the light spear runners every time that I'm playing a Sparta. I love light spear runners. I like to pick a Laconian Hillman. Laconian Swordsmen, they are not going to beat renowned Kopesh fighters. It's just not in the cards for them. It's not something they're going to do. The only infantry that has a chance against the renowned Kopesh fighters is the armored spearmen. I don't like playing the armored spearmen, however, because they are currently bugged. So I feel that your best bet is to go with Laconian Swordsmen, because it's just not viable to pick a pair of heroic axe warriors. You can only take 2 of them. They cannot do the work against renowned Kopesh fighters, even if supported by Laconian Swordsmen. So I feel 5 Laconian Swordsmen, they're a road bump, they're there to hold battle and deal the damage that they can, and they're good at that for their cost. They are still an efficient unit. Laconian Hillmen I like, because then you can try and do some flanking attacks, and their terror and rear charge bonus might be enough to crack that nut. Let's go ahead and look at Lycia real quick. I want to see if the renowned Kopesh fighters have any kind of immunity to fear, and the only thing, well, they do have immunity to flanking, so they're not going to receive the penalty for being from being rear attacked, but you can at least get the benefit of attacking them in the rear with a fear-based unit and cause that fear damage and give them something else to fight at the same time. Speaking of a flanking force, light spear runners, my friends. You turn that 2-handed melee into ability on, and then you got like speed 66. They're nuts. They're zippy. They have plenty of little extra damage buffs and everything. Again, they're not going to beat renowned Kopesh fighters. None of these melee units are going to beat renowned Kopesh fighters. But if they can get into favorable engagements and outflanking and into positions where they can deal extra damage, like with, say, a 26 damage javelin throw from behind that they didn't see coming, damage starts to add up. Also, Lycia has some decent ranged units. Light spear runners are a great tool for taking care of ranged units, as well as Achaean slingers are good at that. I had only, let's hear, how much XP was it? I only had 90 XP left, and if you only have a little bit, you may as well just put that into your ranged units. Give them faster reload time, gives them more damage. I picked 1 reinforced chariot and a Cyclops. Cyclops, again, is a tool to try and help you win the battle against the Lycian Kopesh fighters. And then the reinforced chariot, Lycia has good chariots. However, all of Lycia's chariots are, skirmish chariots, alright? Maybe he leaves them on skirmish mode, in which case your own chariot might be able to do some damage to them. The best counter for a reinforced chariot that Lycia has is going to be the heavy Lycian chariots, which is a javelin chariot and is also heavy weight class. And as you can see, its stats all across the board are actually lower than that of the reinforced chariot. It just does happen to have a little bit more hit points, and it has its 60 damage javelins, which is nothing to shirk at, but that's not the point of bringing a chariot. A chariot is a chariot first, and if it's a missile chariot, it is an archer or a javelin thrower second. Alright, it is still a chariot first. So anyway, those are just my thoughts based off of my engagements with Guillefreeman. I also want to make a quick announcement about this. Heir of Carthage has invited me to give a video to his channel to just kind of talk about the state of multiplayer in Troy. And I'm kind of building up a list of things to talk about. But I wanted to get your feedback. What are things that, if I were to make a video, which I plan to do, for Heir of Carthage's channel, what do you think I should put in that video to show to his community about Troy multiplayer beta? What things do you think I need to point out or mention in that video, just to kind of give a state of the game address, really? That's all we're talking about for the multiplayer beta, okay? Anyway, ta-ta, I love you all. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.